when I was around the age of 1.5, 2 year old. My mom set me out on the interstate and drove off and left me. And told my dad to come and get me. So my dad did. He got me and he took me to some family in Texas. And on the way to Texas, my dad stopped at the hospital. And they had to soak the diaper in for me because it was back then you had cloth diapers and the impetigo was so bad. They couldn't get the diaper off of me because I seed up with it.
And they arrest, and you're mostly filed charges. You ever filed a lawsuit or whatever against your dad
For kidnapping.
and she set you out.
And she set me out, yeah. Drove off and left. And that's how I came here.
So let's start. So you went through all that,
Oh, yeah.
and then Jesse turns into a young,
Superstar.
ridden teenager. So
Yeah.
so where'd you go? Where'd you go to high school?
Well, I went to Happy Valley.
Okay.
I was a big football player at Happy Valley. Had life in the direction where I wanted to go.
Okay.
And it was crazy. I had and a lot of colleges looking at me when I was playing ball. I was a freshman in high school. Everybody was like, "Man, you need to hang in there and things will go good." And I was like, "I'm hanging in. I'm not going anywhere." And my coach always brung me in his office. It's the funniest thing ever. He'd say he had a picture of this football player holding a 7-pound baby. It's crazy. It's like everybody could read me but myself. You know what I mean?
So like you were trying to cover everything up.
Was because the stuff I've been through, I was just trying to let it go so I could function. But I was hiding it. They'd bring me in that office and he'd tell me an extra 7 pounds will kick you off the football team.
Yeah.
I was like, ain't no way. Ain't no way he knows. He don't know this. But I'd always tell him he just needs to quit worrying about me and I'll be fine. But sure enough, my freshman year in high school, I had a young'un. What 7 pounds is 8 pounds. But sure enough, it set me free. I quit high school and I got married at a very young age.
So how old were you? So you quit high school. How old were you when you got married?
Gosh, I was probably 16, 15, 16.
Good.
Yeah. And I had a job. And I thought like my dad was always like, you support your family. You know, the fun's over.
Yeah.
Once you start having a family, the fun's over. Now it's about your family.
And so you lived up to that.
And I tried.
Yeah. So what kind of support system did you have behind you, or were you learning all? You were having to learn all this.
I didn't have no support. No, I did and messed up and did good and messed up, and I learned from my mess ups. And
Well, so like as a young Jesse, now this is a long time ago,
okay,
but as a young Jesse, do you think that the childhood trauma stuff, the stuff that you went through, and now you said you were kind of putting all that back,
mm-hmm.
do you think that's what affected you in your high school years the most?
Probably, yeah, but
Or the lack of
I try not to
support
look
system?
at my past to blame my future.
Yeah.
I am who I am.
Yeah.
I can make what I can use that as a crutch if that's what I choose to do. But I'm not that guy. Let that be bygones and start fresh.
Sure.
And that's what I did.
Okay. Is if you want to support what's going on here and these stories that we're being able to tell, be a part of our Patreon. The link's down below. That really does give us the push forward. So then you had a kid, got divorced, was learning trades in North Carolina.
Yes.
Okay. So at this time you were still doing house stuff and
I did house stuff my whole young age, all the way up to, and fast foods. I did a lot of fast food work.
and still no support system really. Just trying to figure it
just
out.
me, just trying to make it. Didn't have no government assistance. I didn't know how to get that. And by that time I was divorced, single. I didn't know what to do. I was going to court constantly.
Over the kids situation.
Over the kids. And, didn't really know. When the judge told me I had to pay $32.50 a week child support back then, I thought, how in the world am I going to live?
$32.
$32.50 nowadays, it won't even buy you a meal.
Yeah.
But things changed, but it was tough.
So you were going through all this court stuff too in your early 20s.
Yes.
And at this time you still had no high school degree?
Nothing.
I mean, nothing.
Nothing. I had to get out there and do that backbreaking work. And back then, education is where it's at.
Yeah.
Nowadays, education, not so much. I mean, you can learn a trade and make good money. And you didn't need an education. But back then you did. So I had to be the grinding stone.
So it was, I'm assuming it was hard to get jobs.
Oh, absolutely.
Stuff.
Yeah. Everything I did is what everybody else didn't want to do.
So what did that do to your, let's say, outside of work life? I mean, did that lead to bad situations?
It made me a stronger person. It made me be the person that I didn't want to be in my past. If I could be strong, I could grow.
So you was always mentally pushing yourself.
Oh, always. I had, when I was in high school, when I quit school, my football coach told me, he said, don't you ever be a quitter. Because once you're a quitter, you're always a quitter. And that's set with me.
Okay.
Even still today. And then I've just thrived on that the whole time. And I've never quit. I've kept on. Even when I make a mistake.
Yeah.
And I fail at it, I still keep on keeping on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's go into the late 20s of the Jesse.
Yeah.
What was the late 20s of Jesse like?
Well, the late 20s, I was introduced to pro wrestling, and I started. Well, no, it wasn't in. That was in my late. That was in my late 30s, yes, or I guess I can't remember. It's so crazy. My life is just like a whirlwind. I started, I motocrossed for a while. I never really made no money at it, but I was racing motorcycles. This is something I wanted to do. But there again, you have to look back that I had this child.
Yeah.
And there again, I was in and out of court. I just didn't know how the system worked, but they brought it to my attention quick. So I had to stop all the fun stuff I was doing and buckle down and try to take care of that child that I had, because I didn't want to go to jail.
Yeah.
Because back then, that's what they put you. And here nowadays, it's not so much. I mean, you can get behind thousands of dollars and just pay a payment and you're good. Back then, you get behind $1,000, they won't put you in jail. And I'm sure I got behind a lot, but I always got it caught up and I always took care of that debt.
So you were always trying to balance, like trying to be a young, 20-year-old and a father and a divorced.
Yeah.
I mean, you were trying to manage all this stuff and still try to have a life. And so then the court system was always ruling you to make payments.
Oh, it's crazy every time I turn around. But, there again, it's like I'm still trying to live my childhood life at the age of 53 because I never had it.
Yeah.
And I guess that's why I've got the personality I have today. And I get along with everybody.
Yeah.
It's just, I wish I had that childhood life.
Okay.
Because I never had it.
Well, so I'm starting to get intrigued here. So you mentioned motocross. So you were doing action sports.
I was.
And then where did the pro wrestling, the wrestling circuit? I mean, was it at this time? So I don't know anything about wrestling. So at this time, what was pro wrestling? So
wrestling back in the day was probably one of the biggest entertainments that was on TV at the time. So that's when the NWO was real big, and the NWA just panned out into WCW, WWF, and all that stuff happened. So I got introduced to that. I think it's in my, I want to say my early 30s, late 30s. I can't remember.
So, but how'd you I mean,
I
you
just
just
had-
walking down the road. And,
I just went to one of the wrestling matches in Johnson City at the old recreation center, and I've always lifted weights. I was always a big kid, had good physique, and this guy said, one of my friends went to high school, he was wrestling. I was like, what? I thought, well, how come I can't do that?
yeah.
So me and him got together, and he supposedly said he trained me. So the words he always told me to say is, I'm trained to wrestle. So I started going to these independent shows. I had that look, the long hair, the big buff guy, and
So you wore the spandex.
absolutely, I did. It was great.
Okay, hold up. What? Jesse Wilcox is your name by day.
Yes.
What was your wrestling?
Jesse Taylor.
Jesse Taylor.
Yes. You can even go on Google now and Google that still today.
Really?
Yeah, you can go to Jesse Taylor NWA and you can pull all my old footage up. It's still there. It's the great stuff.
You've messed up now.
Yeah, it's great.
It's going to go in.
JG's to the flag. Bring elbow drop.
Oh, Mr. Wildfire! Hey, Jesse J, just win.
But yeah, I started there, and then I started getting into these big independent shows.
Okay, so I'm assuming, not knowing, there was like a trial period. Like you were having to do like these little like high school matches.
They were, but they like pushed me away from that because I had that look.
So
And
it's all it's sales. So what are
Yes, it's like anything else. They say sex sells. You know, I was that magnet, and I can make the promoters tons of money through my merchandise. I didn't know they was doing it, but I didn't know nothing about it. So I went to go to these shows, and the guy that supposedly trained me said, "Tell them that you're trained." So I did. So I get in the ring with Dirty White Boy and the Golden, Jimmy Golden, and we did a tag team match. Well, they thought I was trained. I didn't know anything. They literally beat me the whole match because they was so good. They done it for so many years. All I had to do is tell them I wasn't trained. They could make me look like a superstar. But I lied to them because I was told to lie.
Yeah.
And I got squashed. But it was good stuff. I learned stuff like that. So it's all good.
So I mean, but what was that time period like? I mean, because I'm assuming what it was to some degree. Maybe you didn't even know at the time. Like this was you living out your younger years.
Absolutely.
Like you finally got the opportunity to be.
Yeah, a kid.
Yeah.
I thought this was kid stuff, but actually people make money doing this. I didn't have a clue. And then I got a break one time. Eddie Golden come and got me and said, I went to school with him and said, hey, I got a place for you. And I thought, oh gosh, I don't lie. Because I was told to lie. And he said, I need you to go to NWA with me in Cornelia, Georgia. So I went, and they loved me. I was like the best thing.
So how many people? I mean, what would this been like?
I'm talking probably a building packed full of probably, say, 1,000 people. These people, absolutely. I was there within probably a month, and I was already like on top of the chain. They was putting me in an angle to make me the United States heavyweight champion.
So this was, I mean, this was like huge. A circuit, right?
Yeah, this was huge. This is TV. And I was like, what? I didn't understand. They said I was like a natural. I didn't know any wrestling. I didn't know the wrestlers back in the day like everybody else does. And the stuff that I did know, it just come natural.
So between this, I mean, between the line and now all of a sudden you're on a professional circuit. I mean, was there any trainer or you just watched?
So we went to 3 months of training in Ohio. We did some training there. We came back to Cornelia, Georgia, and that's when we really started pushing the Jesse Taylor, and it went over like a ton of rocks. I mean, you would thought I was a superstar, like I am today. But anyway,
there it is.
But that still sets into me, and sometimes it pops out because I really enjoyed that. And it
did you have a move?
Yeah, they call it the belly to belly. Yeah, it was like the best thing ever. I mean, I could sit back then and talk to people and never get this emotional. I could cut promos in front of thousands of people. But nowadays, when I get older, it's hard for me to even talk
in front of people.
Yeah, talk to people.
So was it? I assume it was exciting, but was it something where you just didn't really even know what was happening?
I didn't know.
Yeah,
I was being a kid. I was having fun. But these other people, it was a job to them. It was
their livelihood. Yeah.
I was still going back and working. And on the weekends, I'd go travel.
So were you getting paid to do this too?
Yeah, but I tell me, I didn't want the money. I mean, I was like, I didn't know them guys was making a lot of money until I got introduced to WCW.
Okay, so you went through the circuit.
Yes.
Become Jesse Taylor.
Yes.
Lived it up. And then WCW come.
I got a gig with WCW, and it was in the last 11 months that they were in business. And I can remember Eric Bischoff was all having a big meeting. And he told us, he said, boys, if we don't get this thing together, he said, this money used to come in here by the railroad carts full. Now it's coming in here by the wheelbarrows. It's not going to last much longer if we don't get it together. I was a new guy. I didn't know what he was talking about until I saw my paychecks. That's big money. That's a lot of money back then. A lot of money now.
Yeah.
But they finally sold out, and when they sold out, Vince bought it all, Vince McMahon, and then I was done.
But that's crazy.
I was out.
I mean, I don't know any other pro wrestlers.
Yeah.
So I mean, I didn't even know all that, and I've known you for a while.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster.
Huh. So after this, Jesse, I don't even know what to call you anymore. Jesse Wilcox, Jesse Taylor. So the Jessies, they come back home. I mean, what do you do now?
So I started working in my dad's business in hydraulics for years. I got out of that, and I started doing an armor car service for a guy in Kingsport, Jeff Tankersley. He had we go out and work on ATMs and transport money back and forth to banks and stuff. And I really like that because it's more of a fun thing. Not everything I've done has never been like a job. It's always been that have fun through life.
You wanted to do it.
Yeah. So
at any point here, did you go back and do schooling, like your high school and stuff?
Well, I went back to school in a little town called Damascus, Virginia, and I got my GED.
Okay.
I just did it for the fun of it. I didn't do it for trying to get any kind of job. I did it because I was in and out with a bunch of people. I like people. I like being around them. And I thought, what better thing could I do?
Yeah.
And then I got my GED back in the early years as I was working through my dad's business. And, yeah.
So you done the hydraulics, you went into armor cars.
I did. And then
was any of this past stuff kind of coming up and hitting you at this point?
It was just like that motivation where my coach said, once you're a quitter, you're always a quitter.
So you just kept the next thing come
up.
I
was like, I'll prove him wrong. I'll prove him wrong. And I did. So after my dad's hydraulic business, and then I worked for that armor car. The armor car company wasn't doing so well, and I was talking to Jeff, and I was telling Jeff I was going to, the owner of the business, I was like, I'm going to get my CDLs. Man, I flew all over the world. Now I'm going to drive it. I get to see the world through a windshield and get paid. Then I have a place to live. I mean, how better could you have out of it?
So still buff,
Yeah.
still buff, still working out,
Still monster.
and decide to get your CDL to become a truck
Yeah.
driver.
So I drove for a while for a company, and then I thought, I'm going to do this myself. So I drove for a few years, 4 or 5 years, and then I started buying my own truck. And next thing you know, I had my trucking business. I started hauling fuel, hazmat. It's just dry freight, whatever.
Was there training for the? I mean, I
No,
assume
they
through
were.
the
There's training. I had to go do, when you do hazmat, you have to have all this criminal background check. And I was like, man, I'll never pass that because I've been through the system with the child support.
yeah.
And I just thought I was a bad person. But apparently when I got clearance to the government to haul fuel to wherever and whomever I wanted to haul it for, it was like, I felt like I was an important person.
So it was. So the fuel license is what mentally kind of
changed my world.
changed you.
Yeah. I felt like I was a person then. I felt like I succeeded. I wasn't a loser.
And it was because of the background checks,
Everything.
the steps you had to go through.
Because of my past that I went through, it just made me feel like I wasn't up standard to a regular human. But on the other hand, here I am.
Yeah. So the tanker stuff, and by the end of it, so you learned how to drive a truck just because you wanted to.
Yeah.
You opened up a trucking bit. You bought a truck,
I did.
and nobody probably did.
I
Anybody
didn't
teach you how to do that?
No.
You just
The
wanted to
trucking
do it?
company that I drove for sold me the truck. They did all the paperwork. So I was paying this big, hefty truck payment. Then I got to figuring, time my truck's paid for and the miles I'm running, my truck's going to be wore out from my truck
to get a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that lasted for a few years, and the truck I bought through that company, I sold it. Then I started driving for the company that I sold the truck for.
Okay.
So I could take the responsibility off of me. All I need to do is just drive a truck cross country. So I did that for a few years. And then we sold, me and my wife,
So you got remarried?
Yes, I got remarried.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to leave it at yeah, so I got remarried for the last time, and me and my wife, she got a pretty good head on her shoulder, so
she was with you through the trucking business.
she was. Okay. Yes. And then we bought a house, and we fixed this house up super nice, and we're still running the trucking business, and we had 7 trucks, and I think it was 13 trailers, and we had all these people employed, and my wife was working 2 or 3 jobs and all this, getting these trucks dispatched out. And here I was trying to load them, work on them, and drive them all at the same time. So it was tough on us. And we got the opportunity where we could sell that business, and we sold our house. And it was like, what do we do next?
Okay. So what do you think? I'm just putting stuff together here.
I got you.
So you kind of went through this thing like, I'm Jesse. I'm out here on my own. I'm going to try to make it. Met your wife, and then all of a sudden you had a little bit of support behind you.
Yep.
And it pushed you into owning a business. And
it's like, when I had her, it's just like, I wasn't afraid to do nothing. All I needed is somebody to say, yeah.
So you just were looking for somebody to support you.
Oh, yeah.
Get behind you.
If I had that support as a young man, I'd be a millionaire right now. Absolutely. I have that drive. It's just, I didn't have that support.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you sold out.
Mm-hmm.
Sold everything.
Sold everything we had. And then we
just started up.
Then we started buying apartments.
Yeah.
And we started buying land. And we bought a set of apartments, and we lived in one of the apartments.
So you done the house hacking.
Yeah, we did that. It was, we bought some houses and flipped them. And still doing the same thing today. And then we got the opportunity to buy a gym. And I was like,
so this whole time though, you're still doing your working out. You're still living the old Jesse life.
Yeah.
Probably still trying to do it.
Yeah.
But so somewhere in this, you've just figured out how to be an entrepreneur, and you all started
clicked.
receiving money.
Yeah. It
All
all
things work together.
Yeah. And I knew as long as I worked like I had the work ethic, I can make this work.
Okay.
And
your wife supported you.
yeah, sure enough, man.
That seems like that's a very pivotal point in your stories, like having the support system.
Gotta have that support
behind you.
Yeah.
It's really what pushed you to
Yeah.
the next level.
And then when somebody tells me you can't do something, I'm not that guy.
So why do you think a lot of times, like as men, we think we can do it all, but the one thing that really changed your story maybe is like having the wife behind the support.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think a lot of people don't have that support and they feel like they can do it on their own. And it's tough. The world is tough to live in.
Yeah.
And if you can't get your stuff together at an early age, you may not make it. And I was determined to make it regardless of any age.
Yeah.
And
do you think that, did you have like a tight friend group? And
no, I have no friends.
so you didn't,
No, I worked all the time.
so you really didn't, I guess you didn't ask anybody what they thought, and
Mm-mm.
you just did it.
I didn't have that. I had a gentleman told me I needed the people that I surrounded myself with is the type of person that I would turn out to be. And I never knew what that meant. But I hung out with the wrong people that wasn't successful. But I'd always try to help those people. But there again, leave myself in the dark. But that's when the old man came to me and said, you need to surround yourself with people that you want to be. And I did. And this is what
Working out.
Yeah.
So you and your wife worked through all these trucking companies and started selling the house and house hacked. So Jesse Wilcox was up here again and started over.
Yeah.
How big was the apartment?
It was a 3-door apartment. It was a little starter. It was 2-door. Yeah, it's 2-door. It was just a starter. We lived in one end, they lived in the other end. We had it rented out, and it paid for itself.
So you were basically free and clear monthly.
Yeah,
money wise.
and we was saving our money to buy other land, so we can develop it, make more money, buying more apartments, and then just trying to make it where we can survive at the age of 55 instead of working when we're 75.
Sure.
I don't want to do that.
So did you have a lot of retirement and stuff?
I didn't have any
Is
retirement.
that what you leveraged? So nothing.
We
up
had.
to this.
I had nothing. I didn't have nothing until I met my wife.
Did anybody ever? Tell
Yeah.
you the importance of it?
Nobody told me anything about 401k. No one told me anything about insurance. I didn't have that. I didn't have the opportunity to learn about it. All I knew is I had to work to stay out of jail.
So the work ethic's really what got you.
Oh yeah.
And so you living in the apartments, and I've seen some of your remodel work. It's really good. You do great, And so all those young trades is really what's pushed you through, so you at least know how to do stuff.
Sure.
So do you think that's what's really like now? Like, because you're in all these places, and we'll get to some of this other stuff here in a minute, some of the stuff you're doing now, but do you think that like those trades and all that knowledge that you gained is really what's pushed you in the real estate world?
It has because I can do the work. I don't have to hire it out.
And now, is that important to you?
It
or
is.
that just the money part?
No, it's important that I can actually do something. And there again, it's like you've got to learn a trade. If you can learn a trade, you can make a ton of money. I learned that on my own.
Okay.
Because I took the initiative. I could have just been one of the guys that, God, I don't like it so emotional like this, but I could be one of the guys that just use that as a crutch to be a nobody. But I'm not that person.
So you just got to keep pushing.
Keep pushing.
Okay. So then you mentioned that you bought a gym.
I did.
So I'm just going to put this into perspective.
Yeah, but let me tell you this. My wife, when I said something about buying it, she was like, no.
So one time she didn't support
She
you.
was scared. She was scared, and I didn't have nothing to be scared about. I just knew that if I kept working that we could do this.
Yeah.
Regardless.
So were you still working the truck driving stuff during the gym, or was this?
We sold our trucking company, and I was driving for another company, but I was home every day.
Okay.
Off on the weekend.
So you were just working a normal day-to-day job?
Yes. Yeah. I was working about 16 hours a day.
Okay, so Jesse Taylor,
Yeah.
Jesse Clark, Jesse Wilcox,
Yeah.
whatever Jesse we're going to go by, was always in the gym. So this was, I'm assuming,
30
this is
years.
the world that you knew.
Yep. 30 years I was in a fitness center.
Now, was this more of a personal purchase, or is this something that you saw the numbers?
This was just something that's a challenge.
Okay.
It's like, can I do this? Yeah.
Okay. So why would they sell the gym?
They was actually they was getting ready to either close it down or try to find another ownership to stay with the business that was there.
Okay.
But nobody wanted it.
So it
was a franchise.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you couldn't make any money at franchise. I mean, you just can't.
Because then you had to give all that money back to the franchise.
So the guy that had it, he was retiring, and he knew that we was big in the community.
Sure.
And he knew that we would take it and run it like he did. Now, he was an older guy, and his fire had done been put out, so he couldn't put the energy in it that he wanted. And he knew me and Tanya could. So we popped that gym. We grew that building. We outgrew that building in 10 months.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So the building, you started the gym.
Yep.
And was it because, now let's just make this in perspective here. Was it because you understood the business side, or you understood the passion behind gym?
It's the passion, because I'm all about helping people. People help me to get where I'm at today.
Okay.
So I want to return that.
Okay.
And help them.
So the gym's, with personal health,
Yeah.
the gym's a way that you're giving back.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't care to help anybody. When it comes to that fitness part of it, I got you. I've been in it for 30 years. So
Did the numbers, now I'm going to ask, did the numbers work? When y'all first started looking at the gym, was the numbers good enough to purchase it?
if you had enough people.
So no.
So it was a challenge. I'm not gonna lie. We spent many, and a lot of people don't know this. We spent a lot of our retirement money to grow this gym, to get it where it's at today, and we still not recovered. And that's been 4 years. And but we keep looking at the community. We want to help the community, and there we go. I met my wife is just like me.
Yeah.
So she's a workaholic, and she wants to help people as much as I do. So we
So it's, the gym kind of fills the need, probably two or three things for you. So it's probably the community, the people around
absolutely.
you. And
I would rather go in the gym and talk than I would work out anymore.
so it gives you the community.
Yep.
You're able to give something to people and help people.
Sure.
And then at the same time, it's a passion.
It is.
So it was kind of like a passion project.
It is, but in that aspect, it's always that challenge.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I didn't want to give up. If something was there and I could feel that I could make a difference, I'm gonna tackle.
You were going to go after it. So you outgrew the gym in 10 months.
10 months.
10 months.
10 months.
Do you have any idea?
No.
It's.
I don't. I look at it like I can't believe it to begin with, and then I'm like, okay, let's just get a bigger building.
It's that easy. Just got to move.
Yeah, just get a bigger building.
So then you transition from that gym into your new location.
Yes,
And now y'all still own the gym.
we do.
Okay. So the gyms, and this hasn't been that long ago.
Mm.
How long ago do you think?
We had the gym down there 2 years in the first location, and now we're 2 years in at the second location.
So 4 going on 5.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is fairly new business venture for you too.
Yeah,
So
in a small town.
That is something probably make sure that we realize.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that model like that business model is something that's worked? I mean, I guess what I'm asking is, do you feel like that's something that's repeatable, or do you think that if you didn't have the passion behind the gym might not be where it's at now? Or do you think it's all just the business?
No, if I didn't have the passion, that gym wouldn't be where it's at. If anybody else had that gym besides me, I feel like it wouldn't be where it's at today, because we put our heart in it.
Yeah. Okay, so the gym now has got you to where y'all are at.
Yeah.
Okay, and now you're doing real estate, like the flipping and the buying and the selling.
Yep.
And, you've done multiple transactions through real estate.
We have.
Do you enjoy the real estate, or is it more like the house stuff, or is it more like an income producer for you?
No, I look at everything, and I know the gym's doing well. Our real estate part, it's doing very well, but I never look at it as in the money.
Okay.
I look at it in, I can do this, and I'll do it.
So everything that you've done just been because somebody may have told you can't, or you had to.
Yeah, I've never even, be honest with you, in the last 5 or 6 years, I've never even seen a paycheck of mine. I don't even know what I make and what I don't make. It's not that I'm not there for the money. It's just like the gym. I don't know. I couldn't tell you what that gym made. I know it's still paying the bills because we still have it.
Yeah.
But I do it because it's my passion.
And then you leave your poor old wife to pull up.
She does it. Yeah.
So
she does. She does a good job.
She is definitely supporting you.
Oh, absolutely.
A support system.
Yeah.
And so then now this leads us to the
man. This is the world
to the
crazy.
50-year-old man.
Yes,
that you are.
Yeah. I had a gentleman come to me when I was building the gym at the new location, and he said,
like physically built, like not building it up, like
no,
physically
like
building it
inside. Yes. Putting up the studio rooms and all that stuff. And he had, it's been 4 years ago since this happened. So he come to me and said, hey, I didn't ever seen this guy before in my life. I mean, I did, but that's a whole different story. But anyway, this guy walks into the gym and says, hey, I'm such and such, and I'm gonna run for sheriff. I'm like, what? I'm like, I knew Keith a while back, but our relationship had been like distanced. He'd done his thing through the police department, and I've done my thing through the trucking and the stuff that I've done through life. So when he come back into the gym and we met up again, he says, hey, I'm going to run for sheriff. And I'm like, hey, that'd be awesome. And he's telling me all these things he wanted to do. And I was like, that'd be great, because I was, I'm there to help.
Member,
yeah, I'm there to help. So whatever you need, I'm there. So our relationship got a little stronger as we went. And Keith told me, he said, Jesse, you got a good personality, and we need people like you on our sheriff's department. And I was like, oh, Lord, here we go, man. He was just he suckered me in. He did. So we went to, I started messing around with the idea, and I was still driving the truck at the time. And
driving the truck,
yeah,
go through the gym, and then thinking about being a police officer.
Yeah, it was just something to tool around with. And then I was like, you know what? I know it takes a lot to be one. There's a lot there in it. And I want to learn. I've never done this before. Let's try it.
The closest thing you got was the armored car.
That's it.
Yeah.
I said, let's try this. So
at 50 years old, you go.
Man, I went from making money to no money, but it was great. There again, it never was about the money, and it still ain't today.
Well, hold on. So within all this, the gym, the truck driving, the complicated life that you're living, you got stuff going a million miles out. Where did that medical issues come in?
Shoot, Lord, let me tell you.
Was this before the police academy? Like
no. I had a back injury. Back in, golly, it's 5 years ago, where I had pro wrestle for a living. That my body was banged up, broken up through the past. And I'd always go to a chiropractor to get relief. So I went to a chiropractor, and I was going for a while, and everything was going. I've been a chiropractor all over the world, flying before shows and after shows, all over the world. So I come to my hometown and go to a chiropractor and get my back broken. So then I have to be caged and fused in my mid-back. So that's
Fuse, you're talking about the laser,
like I'm solid, like I got a cage on my spine, and my spine in that cage is fused solid. It's just it won't bend, won't move. So that's put me some. It's not really hurt me as health wise. It's just it's in the back of your mind.
So do you think that sets you back? Like on your physical side, you still do everything?
No. So check this out. This is crazy. So when Keith was talking to me about becoming a police officer, I was like, man, I don't know. I don't know if I can do this or not. But there again, it's like, I can do this.
You were telling him maybe like, hopefully he'll talk you down.
Yeah. I was telling him like, nah, man, I can't do that. He's like, you can do this. I got faith in you. I'm like, to myself, it's like, nah, I really can't. But really deep down inside, I knew I could. I just didn't know what it entailed. So I was like, I kept running over with my wife. I was like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. I was like.
But she already knew.
I'm going to do this. Oh, yeah, she knew I was going to do it. She just didn't know when I was going to jump that ship. But I come to her one day and told her, that's going to do it. And I did. I went to the sheriff's department and filled my application out. And lo and behold, I passed everything.
And when you passed the academy?
No, like the background check and.
So even though you've passed all this before, you're still concerned.
Yeah, I was still like, because I never had that. You know what I mean? Just that. But
well, I guess because you never really went for like an actual real job.
Yeah, I've never had it till this guy. So I went to the sheriff's department, and this is crazy. So I started driving the buses for the cleanup crew, and taking the inmates out, and watching them do their jobs and stuff. And then I started getting involved in helping them.
Talking to them.
Yeah. So I've got several of them that had gotten out of jail and got their CDLs and started driving truck.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's all.
And and then I started moving up, got into the courthouse, and
so this time, were you still? Was it kind of like, you drive by a cop and you're out? Oh, that's kind of cool,
Yeah, I wasn't even really thinking about being a cop then. I was just like wanting to be in the system.
So you just want to work?
I was just like going through the system, see what was going on, what I liked, and what I was there for, because I was there for a reason.
Yeah.
And I started doing the courtroom stuff and enjoyed it. And then I got told I was going to the road. I had to go to academy.
At 50-year-old?
50. And these kids were 19, 20-year-old. At 50. I was like, what the?
Were you the oldest one there?
Absolutely.
Were you really?
Yeah, they called me Papa. Yeah, they was kids. So this is what was crazy. So I went to this academy called Toledo in Nashville, and it was like I was running all these school kids, like little
kids,
right
out of high school,
and I had to adapt to that. Of course, I never had a childhood, so it was easy.
Knowing you,
yeah,
it's easy.
And then I had all that wrestling behind me, and I knew that would grab their attention. So I went through the motions with how I could fit in, and man, I was just tagging it. And when we started doing this classroom work, I was like, oh gosh, I ain't been in school in years. These kids just got out of school. They knew what to do.
You never really finished school.
Yeah, I never did. And then I knew we had a couple tests, and I failed the first two tests. And in Toledo, you can only fail three times. Twice. The third time you fail, you're out.
Okay.
I was like, this is a 12-week school. I'm on a bubble. After the first 2 weeks, I failed the first two tests. But I retook the test and passed them. So I started getting in with these kids, and they started telling me how to do it. Now I started passing.
So they were helping you.
Yeah.
So you were probably helping them with maybe the life side.
So yeah. So when I got good with them, they started helping me do these tests, and I started passing. So then we had this physical challenge that you had to do at the end of your term to pass the academy.
PT.
Yes. So there's a lot of them.
How long was it?
There was 12 weeks.
Goodness.
It was 147 kids. And out of the physical fitness, I was the top 20. So
50 year
at
old
50. So
with a broke back.
Yes. Yes. So these kids came to me and I was helping them out on the obstacle course and running with them. And when you get that age, you get a lot of negativity sometimes, but I was always that guy that bring you back up. And sure enough, man, the whole class had passed it through. I think there was like 5 of them that had to retake it. And but yeah, everybody in that whole class had passed.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was something else.
So then you go on the road.
Listen,
Is that right?
Yes, I get out and I go on the road and learn how to be a police officer.
Do you feel like that's changed?
It's not changed me. It's made me more of a better person.
Okay.
There again, I got the chance to help.
So now you actually get bad situations firsthand.
We do, but you can always. It's how you bring yourself to that situation, how that situation's going to end up.
Okay.
I'm that guy that I can probably help that situation more than hurt it. Sometimes you have to play the good guy and the bad guy situation to make a situation come together. And that's how it is sometimes.
Now, is that something they taught you in the...
No, it's natural.
Okay.
It's natural. That's my personality. It's how I was brought up through life. It's how life has brung me up for me to be that type of guy.
Do you think, looking back at everything you've been through, because obviously, we're just going to call the elephant out in the room. Obviously, the reason you all would become a police or a police deputy is not because of the money.
More than that.
Okay.
No.
So, do you think that your past is what's like you really couldn't not do this?
Right. I have to do it. I have to.
So you feel like this is maybe like the pinnacle of you giving back? I mean, do you think like that? Has this gave you the most fulfillment?
It has, but I feel like there's something else.
So just keep going. I mean, you got something else after
I
this?
don't know what it is. I
Just keep doing.
I just want to keep doing.
So if you could wrap up everything that you've learned, I mean, you've got money that you've had to learn on your own, family, you've had divorce, you had a kid at 15, 16-year-old.
Yeah.
Divorced before most people graduated high school.
Absolutely.
Left on the side of the road as a kid. I mean, living through that and the emotional toll that divorced family left you on your very front age. What do you think is the one thing that's always pushed you through? I don't know this, but there's suicide is absolutely everywhere.
It's huge.
I mean, have you ever been in that situation mentally?
No.
So that's never been an issue.
No.
What's pushed you through all the other hardship?
It's never quit.
Just keep going. So the coach is always...
It's still today. Anything I do, that comes up. Everything.
What's amazing to me about this whole story, your whole life...
Yeah.
Is that,
and I'm sure there's a lot of stuff we've missed, but... God,
well, I mean, these are... you couldn't cover everything.
No, it's a lot. I always tell everybody I could write a book and it could be the top seller for the first 5 years. I mean, I'm not even kidding you because it's that interesting. And how I ended up where I'm at today.
Everything that we've covered, the reason we're doing this is so that people understand that there's average people out here just walking the streets that's done incredible things. Mm-hmm. And we tend to judge people. But out of your whole story, the one thing that catches me more than anything else is that there was one guy that said one thing to you.
Yeah.
And has stuck with you the entire, through every step.
Everything.
You just never give up.
Yeah, never give up.
So what do you think now? I mean, not job-wise, I'm talking life. I mean, what do you think now is your ultimate goal? I mean, is it to continue to give back or is it...
It's to give back.
Just to keep giving?
Give back. I want to help that person. I I want to help that person like somebody helped me. And hopefully they'll take it and they'll be what I am today. Which is not much, but it's a lot better than most.
Yeah. Which is huge steps.
Yeah.
You know, and now you're a police officer.
I am. I'm not this emotional when I'm a police officer, though.
Probably couldn't be. Or it probably put you in a bad spot.
Yeah.
But you're a police you become a police officer during a really hard time in the community, the local community.
Oh, it's tough.
And one reason too is because the Hurricane Helene happened.
It did. It was a hard hit for our community.
Do you think there's a lesson here as a police officer that you've learned?
Just don't give up. And they ain't. And
So
the communities, they're getting built back, but just don't never give up.
To keep pushing.
Just keep pushing, no matter how tough it is. Things will work out.
And the other thing, stay in the gym.
Stay in the gym. I mean, it's a lifelong commitment. Once you start, you can't stop. But it's just it's for your health. It's for you.
So then the other thing I want to capture here at the end. This is something that probably not many people, maybe even nobody, understands.
Yeah,
you've become a farmer.
Oh,
you're getting ready to become a farmer here recently.
Oh,
So this last real estate investment.
Yes.
Have you ever had animals?
No, but we're going to try it. So we bought a little old farm down the road here, and we redid the house. The house is turning out pretty nice. And I tell my wife all the time that we're going to rebuild one more time because we moved like probably 7, 8, 9 times.
The last 6 years.
The last 12 years of us being married. So I told her we was going to move one more time, and she's like, no. And I'm like, one more time. And everybody keeps telling me that's my forever home, which it's not. But she says it is, but I promise you it ain't.
But see, this is one of those characteristics with you, though. It tends to be, is that it's just keep going.
I mean, I don't want to stop.
Yeah.
I don't want to stop. I want to keep on.
What do you think the fear in stopping is? I mean, you think it's just
failure.
So the fear of stopping is
failure.
Yeah. That's a hard pill to swallow.
That's tough. I think it's in everybody. Everybody's afraid to fail. But sometimes it's good to fall. I fail, but I always get back up. I never quit. And that's tough. It's tough.
So, what about the farming? Are we gonna? What are you doing on the farm?
I couldn't tell you, but my wife wants cows.
Cows?
We're gonna try it. And she's kicked around some goats. But listen, we know nothing about it. We know nothing. So we'll see. You might ride down the road and next to my farm and see cows in the middle of the road. We don't know. Yeah. So
this is just the next thing.
This is the next thing.
We're going to do something else.
Yeah. You never know. I may raise up a beef cow and give it to a family that needs it. I don't know. It's just meat.
So, biggest thing is, I just want to make sure we cover this, is that you want to make sure everybody knows, no matter the situation, is you just got to keep going.
Keep going.
Don't ever quit.
Never quit.
Do you think that's been able to be something that you're giving to other people now, like in the police? Because I'm sure these situations are rough.
It is. And I hope so. I hope, I do talk to a lot of them, and I probably tell them more than I probably should, but, I'm all about that. I want to help.
Yeah, you're giving back.
So
sure.
Whether it helps me or hurt me, but they do understand, and there's been a lot of people that have really set by it. And I'll give them an incident. So in a certain area that I work, not everybody deserves a citation.
Sure.
So sometimes you just need to pull them out and get their attention, and they'll agree to, but I gave this guy, and it sticks out every day. I gave this guy a warning. And I was at a restaurant one time, and he said, hey, man, I've never been over the speed limit. And he bought our lunch that day.
So you made an impression.
I made an impression.
So that sticks with you.
Yeah. And I just want to keep doing that. I want to keep helping.